Hey guys, Josh here, and today I've got Neftali in Atlanta, Georgia, and he has just been, we're drinking coffee today, so we're both having a coffee camera interview, and he's just been hired as Zoom, which is an awesome video communications company, so if you don't know about them, you check them out. But Neftali, I want you to go ahead and just share with everyone your experience before Prehired, and like what was your background in business or sales, and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, Josh. So I've been in retail sales for about 3 years, moved into management shortly after. And then I got into outside sales for a little bit of, more flexible schedule, Monday through Friday type deal, doing advertising. And then I moved into digital marketing after that. And I realized, just through several kind of the way that the industry was going, it was getting very consolidated when it comes to different firms that were being successful and different firms that were shutting down. So I didn't want to get caught up in an industry that was, considered old. So I knew software sales was always on top of my mind, but I never really knew how to get started. That's kind of what got me kind of looking at different options to get some help in that arena.
Okay, so you were familiar with you've been in sales a little bit. You knew kind of where you didn't want to be, where you wanted to go. You knew a little bit about software sales. So then you found us, Prehired, science-based sales. And what was going through your head when you found us, when you first realized what we do? Because being a sales boot camp to get you into tech jobs, it's not normal. That's not something that's been around a while.
Man, I saw the numbers, man. It said, 100K and a guarantee. And I was like, man, this has got to be too good to be true. And I did, of course, a little bit more research, kind of read the reviews, read testimonials, saw a little bit about the curriculum, see what it went through, and it made sense. I mean, if you have a job where you have these tools that you got to use to be successful, and this program is going to help me use those tools, it's only going to give me a leg up. And it later found out to be true. So I was skeptical at first, but I imagine like everyone else is. But I think you have some great people out there that really made it happen, and just kind of working with your team and chatting with the counselor kind of alleviated some of my doubts.
Well, thanks for saying that, Neftali. And you mentioned what it was like, in the course, going through the material, and you mentioned working with us. Just share a little bit about what was it like for you going through the program before you enter. Let's save getting hired part till the end, but going through the course, the program, interacting with us, what's some things that stuck out that you really liked learning in the program?
I really like that in the video modules, there's a lot of real cool tidbits to take off. You really have I think in the instructor, in the modules, there's a lot of context. And I think that's important because you can teach somebody something like a concept, but if you give actual examples of how that can be used, that's good ammunition when you're going to these interviews. You'll see, and anyone that's looking to get in the program is, you can shout abbreviations and terminology all day long, but if you don't know how to apply it into real life situations, it's not going to do you any good. And I think that's what the program does: is you watch the modules, you consume the material, you do your self-study, but then in the back you got a team of individuals that you can reach out to for sessions, just like we're hopping on call, hopping on with Andrew and Aaron. They've been very helpful when it comes to just, a type of situation. Hey, and I felt like there were a lot of people with a vested interest.
Yeah. And you know what you mentioned, like in the program, contact, like just knowing words and throwing out abbreviations or lingo for the sales interviews doesn't work. And that's something that I do want to mention on for this is I get a lot of applications, or a lot of people applying every month that just say things like, Josh, if you could just get my foot in the door, if you could just make an intro for me, I know sales, I could close the sales manager, I could get the job. And I'm like, no, you couldn't. Because that's why we're talking. If you could have done that, you would have done it already, because it's not a resume issue. It's not I just need to know the lingo issue and trick the manager into hiring me. No, you need to learn certain things. Like you need to learn the context, how to use the tools, how to know what skills you're going to need to use and where to use them in the sales process, whether you're in the discovery phase, advisory phase, qualification, prospecting phase. Like know what to do in those phases, and then know the workflows. And you've got to know all those things. So if you just know some keywords to throw out, it doesn't even matter if you were able to trick the manager into hiring you. You're going to get fired in 7 to 14 days because they're going to be analyzing your data and the results and know that you don't know what you're talking about. So I love that you said it's not about throwing out keywords and lingo but it's actually knowing how to do the work. And that is exactly what we're doing, is making people who are great. They're great people, great, sales, but there is a gap. There is a gap of things that need to be taught, need to be learned, and luckily we can do that in a quick amount of time. So I wanted to be clear on that, because a lot of people think that they can just throw out Salesforce and like other keywords, and then it's like, okay, well, tell me more about that. How would you go about building your sales process? Or how would you do this and this? And if you don't know that stuff and can't show them how you would do the job, you're not a good hire to the hiring manager. It's all about making good or bad investment. They want to invest in the right people and bring the right people to their team. And the way they know you're a good investment is that you can do the job. And that's what we want to make sure you can do, is actually do the job, but actually do it so well that you force them into saying, this is the best candidate for the job. We need to tell all these other applicants to go home and let's talk more to Neftali. Let's talk more to these guys. So, all right. Love that we were able to cover some of that material in the program. And I always love getting to share other stories of people we talk to every week. The next thing I want to know, though, is what was it like getting hired for you, Neftali? It's different for everyone. They all follow the science-based sales system. But for you, what were some of maybe your numbers? Like, what was it like? How long did it take? What was your kind of method, or what were you doing?
Yeah. Like I said, working with your team, Andrew has been phenomenal. He's been very, I won't say kind of like he doesn't just give you the answer. He really kind of gives you a way to kind of set your own system, figure out what works. I'm really glad he did, because it led to me sending out almost 80 applications. And I think I went on either a pre-screening or initial interview about 20 of them. And I ended up getting offers from 6 of those 20. So it was really exciting to be able to choose, where I wanted to go, not necessarily be forced to one company. So I was really excited to see that come to fruition. It's something to just read it, just to say, oh, guaranteed job offer. But when you actually look at the offers start coming in, it's like, well, damn, shit, I should have done it.
I love it. Yeah, it's like people. This is the most fun part about what we do is when we talk to people about the end result. It's like, you're telling me I'm going to get like a 6-figure sales career. Well, first of all, I say it's a 6-figure sales career because that's the average that a software salesperson makes. But you're not going to make that your first year. Like maybe 5% of our members, 10% maybe, do 100, 120, 140,000 their first year, because we do have a few of those. But that's not normal, and that's okay, because the thing, though, is 60 to 80 is normal for your first year, and then you can hit the 100,000 mark your second year as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do. But I love how people don't understand it, though. They're so used to going to Monster.com or Craigslist and just throwing out hundreds of applications, click, 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 apply, and then like a handful of companies get back to them. But guess what? They're not excited to work there because because you're not making yourself a great candidate, especially in your way you're applying, but also you're not showing them that you can do the work. So you're not going to get anyone excited about contacting you. But when you go from this feast, you're going from famine to feast is what it's like. And people don't understand how it really is night and day different. No one, they don't understand what it's like, but it's like once it starts happening, like, wow, this is what my life's going to be like now. Because that's the coolest thing is, and I want you to talk about Zoom in a second, but it's like, if for some reason, let's say 6, 12 months, 18 months down the road, for whatever reason, Zoom's not making you happy, which I'm sure they will be, but it's nice to know that you can just run your sales system again and pick from whatever companies you want to interview with and get the job offers again. And then it's like, this is what my life's like now. It's not like a one-time, I tricked the manager into hiring me, but now I have this thing, this skill, this system that I can use anytime.
And I think another thing, Josh, that I'll add to that is it also taught me, kind of, how to handle the no's, when the job offer, when it's not a good fit. I think that's one thing that, I don't think a lot of people get the opportunity to do is, go back into the company and say, hey, thanks, but no thanks, in a way that's carefully measured, because at the same time, like you said, you got to be able to a year, 2 years later, you never know, what could happen in your current job. You don't want to burn those bridges. So you have a good relationship with those people, whether they, stay at a company. For example, I interviewed with a pretty large internet music company, and, they have some pretty good things coming down the pipeline. And, I might be interested in 2 years, 3 years, who knows? And I was able to kind of still maintain that close relationship with the hiring manager. We connected on LinkedIn, and, we both kind of understood the differences there.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that. So the last thing I want to ask you, Neftali, is we've got a lot of people that have been following us for, months, and now that, a year, now that we're a year old this month. What would you say to them if they're still on the fence about, software sales, or maybe they're on the fence about pre-hired, whether this is a real thing or not? What advice or recommendation would you give to them that's listening or watching today?
I'll say, it's an investment, and as with any investment, it's something where you just don't set it and forget it. If you expect to, pay for this and, just magically things happen, it's not going to be the right program for you. If you're someone that is in it for the long term, a long-term strategy to really learn things and apply them throughout your career, and you see this as something of value, really going to kind of put in the work, not just a one-way street, then, what are you waiting for? I think it's definitely worth it. You're working with some great people. I really enjoy everybody at Prehired and what they're doing. And, they're not like any other, company that's just going to sell you something and forget it. I think they're really, stand behind what they're providing for you.
Neftali, thanks and I love that summary, man. It's that's actually exactly what I would say too. Is guys, and I guess I have to say this because you just gave one of the most concise recommendations. That's like very just, I guess, neutral. It's actually how I would want to tell someone is, if you're serious about changing your career and you're willing to look at this as you're going to put in the 40 to 50 hours to do the work, like as an investment, you're going to put the 40 and 50 hours in to learn this program, and you're going to put 5 to 8 hours a week for about 6 weeks to get those 3, 4, 5 job offers in. If you're willing to commit to that, we want to talk to you. So I want to make that clear too, is we're for real, but if you don't have that mindset that Neftali just said, then don't do it. But yeah, if you've got that, we'd love to talk to you. So thanks, Neftali. Thanks for sharing your story and just what it was like going through the program with us. And dude, I know you've already been on your first week, but good luck with the travel to San Jose training with Zoom, and we'll be in touch.